Hello, my name is Nikki and I make videos on the internet about life, books, and my writing, and sometimes med school. And I'm super excited to be filming today's video because I actually stuck to a TBR last month, and I'm really excited for next month since I have a readathon that I am a co-hosting, so I thought it'd be great to make this video early, especially since I also am participating in romanceopoly and I would like to pick my books. Plus I have a whole stack of books that I want to read next month. With that note, I wanted to start off this video with the books that I read last month and the ones that I gave 5 stars to, because I think that will be a good way to wrap up last month. In my last vlog, and I'll link it up here, I talk about how the fact that I'm not rating books anymore. This is a personal decision due to the fact that I'm also writing and I want to be a published author, and I go into detail in that video about it. Okay, so the books I read this month so far: Destiny's Embrace by Beverly Jenkins. I read this for romanceopoly. Farmer's Market Prompt. I really liked it. I hadn't read something that was a diverse historical fiction. I love historical romance in general. I definitely don't think it's very spicy if that's what you like in your historical romance, but I loved how Beverly Jenkins effortlessly weaves the history of the Western United States into these books, and I was really surprised to have not only Black characters but Hispanic characters taking the forefront, as well as Native American characters, and it was just really well done. It takes place in California and I really liked it. So the next book that I read was A Torch Against the Night. This is Saba Tahir, and this was one of my 5-star reads. This actually wasn't in my official TBR, even though I knew I was going to be reading it, because I finished An Ember in the Night last month, December 2022, and I really liked it, and I also really loved this one. It was excellent. Saba Tahir is one of my new favorite authors. Thank you so much to Tori, who gifted me the first book of the Ember in the Ashes series, because I loved it, and I was buddy reading that with Sarah from Sarah Lorraine Reads and Valisa from Valisa Renee. Now the next book I read was Daughter of No Worlds, and this is by Carissa Broadbent. This is the first book I've ever read by her, and I'm really excited to read more by her and continue this series. It is a romantasy book. I think that if you are new to the genre of romantasy, or if you liked ACOTAR, I think you'd really like this book. And then the next book I read was Skip Beat, and this was actually, I think, the only physical book. Actually, no, I read one other physical book. This book was just a fun read. I needed something to kind of like rev my engines back up. I had DNF'd Magnolia Parks and I felt kind of in a slump, so I ended up picking up this book. It's a shoujo manga, and basically the main character, she ends up trying to become a celebrity so that she can get back at this person who she loved and was in love with and took advantage of her. So it's about her trying to realize that dream, and it was good. I ended up reading up to volume 4 and I didn't put it on my Goodreads because I wanted to read just the omnibuses. So if I ever pick up the series again, I will let you guys know. But this was also something that wasn't on my TBR. Now the next book I read, and I have the physical copy somewhere but I cannot find it and I don't feel like looking for it, but it was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. The writing is beautiful. I really want to read more of V. Schwab's work, especially her fantasy series, but I feel like this book suffers from something that I've seen a lot in just like book talk books in general, where people talk about it in a way that's not representative of it. I think that this book really felt more into magical realism, fantasy, and the romance really was not the main focus. And I think going into it, because of like how people on the internet talk about it in general, it sounds like it's gonna be a more romance focused book, and I feel like I really need to like work on reader expectations with that. But I guess that's like also not my fault because it's how people portray it. Like I don't know what to do about that, but it was beautifully written. I think that if you're someone that really likes literary fiction and a sprinkle of fantasy, I think this would really be up your alley. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it. And then the next one that I read and I really liked it was Resisting Maxu by Victoria Aveline. This is my second 5-star read. One of the things I liked the most about this book was how much you can see that Victoria Aveline has improved as an author. I've read this entire series. This is like her 6th book in this first series that she's ever published, at least from what I know. I just love it, and I really like how the world is getting more complex and more dangerous for the women that are stuck with Klakia. I don't know, I'm really excited for the next book after finishing it. I love the romance of this one. The scenes were very like smutty, but I'm gonna say like I need people to stop writing like sweaty romance scenes like it's hot. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Thinking of the scene from Crescent City 2 where they're in the gym, it just gives me the ick. Okay, so that's what I've read so far. I still need to pick up The Stolen Heir, and I also need to pick up Guild from Raven Kennedy, and this was on my 12 books to read in 2023 of books that people have recommended to me. So I'm really excited to get to that because it's been on my list forever and I really think I'm gonna like it. So anyways, now into the TBR. So I'm going to start off with the romanceopoly and then I'm going to go into Monster Lovers Team because I am doing the romantasy readathon and co-hosting it, and I have to pick my books obviously, so I'm really excited for that. But I wanted to do this first because there might be books. I have like so many books that I want to read for that readathon, so I don't know. You can read prompts for other teams and it'll count towards your team if you finish, like not if you finish your prompts, but like you can do that. But like you're obviously supposed to focus on your main prompts. So I'm gonna pick first romanceopoly, and I think that for next month I'm gonna pick 3 books, and I think that maybe in the middle of the month, if I finish those 3 books, I will then just pick another card. But I didn't end up doing that this month, which I feel like I could have, but I didn't. So I'm shuffling. I want to do this one. No, I don't want to do that. It says the gym. Read the longest book on your TBR. Well, I have a book that will fit for this, and it's also romance, so this works, okay? The book that I'm going to read for this one is actually, I have it sitting right here. I didn't get to Kingdom of Ash, so this book is going to count towards the gym prompt, which is read the book, the longest book on your TBR. I would not be surprised if this is the longest book. Boom, I win. I'll be reading Kingdom of Ash, and now I have to read it because it's part of the romanceopoly readathon. Okay, good. Next one. Historical. Read a historical romance with a rake. I love this one. I love rakes. Okay, so what should I read? Okay, I found it. And since I want to get through my physical TBR, this is the book that I'm going to pick. This is Sarah MacLean's The Rogue Not Taken, Scandal and Scoundrel, Book 1. This book is about Sophie, I believe. She has like a scandal where she falls in a lake and she ends up running away from London as a stowaway in the Marquess of Everlesley's, not boat, but carriage. It says here, King Scott King, the Marquess of Eversley, has never met a woman he couldn't charm, resulting in a reputation far worse than the truth. A general sense that he's more pretty-faced than proper gentleman, and an irate summons home to the Scottish border. When King discovers stowaway Sophie, however, the journey becomes anything but boring. War or more. He thinks she's trying to trick him into marriage. She wouldn't have him if he was the last man on earth, but carriages bring close quarters, dark secrets, and unbearable temptation, making opposites altogether too attractive. This is perfect. This is perfect. This is perfect. So 2 books down. I'm loving this challenge. This is just so fun. Maybe I should just get the 4th one just in case. Last book I'm gonna pick. Contemporary. Read a slow burn or instant heat contemporary romance. What should I read? What should I read? So for Passion Place, read a slow burn or an instant heat contemporary romance. I decided that I'm gonna just pick a contemporary romance because on the website she says alternatively you can just pick a contemporary romance, and this book has been on my TBR forever. This was actually a book from Belisa and I'm really excited to finally read it. I have heard so many great things about this series of the Brown sisters, and I think it's gonna be perfect for Valentine's Day and all that jazz. So also I'm trying to write romance, so I'm trying to see how like more experienced authors do it, and I think it'd be great to see how Talia Hilbert does it. So excited. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. This book, from what I understand, is about Chloe Brown. She's chronically ill and she kind of makes a list of things that she wants to do before she dies. I don't know if she's actually dying. I don't know what sort of disease she has yet, but she ends up enlisting the help of someone called Redford Red Morgan, and he is like hottie lamati with a swimmer's body with a motorcycle and super sex appeal. So she asks him to help her become a rebel, and I kind of live for that, so excited. Okay, so I decided I'm just gonna take the last one and I'll just pick a shorter book for this last one, or maybe a KU book that I have on my list. So let's see what I can get. Coffee shop. Read a book that has been recommended to you. This includes all our recs. Genre only, thriller or mystery. Okay, let's see. So for coffee shop, I decided that I'm going to pick one of the 12 books that was recommended to me last year for me to read in 2022. So let me find it. The list. I'm making a list. I'm checking it twice. I think for next month, I'm gonna read Destroyer. Destroyer will be the book that I read. That's by Meg Smitherman. Both Katie from Katie Colopy or Phantom Fable here on YouTube, and Val from Literary Papier have recommended that book. So for the romantasy readathon, I am the co-host of the Monster Lovers team, therefore I'm going to be reading the prompts for that one. Obviously, you know, like for these, I think I might just like mood read a bit because I do have so many books that I would like to read, but I do have like an idea of the books that I do want to pick up for these prompts. So for the first one, read a book that features a supernatural character. I'm going to be picking up The Captive of the Horde King, and it's an alien planet like sci-fi romance. I've been in it to win it when it comes to sci-fi romance. I don't know much except it's a pretty smutty book, and it has like very like a dominating male character. Check out the trigger warnings. I do believe that she gets taken in as like the mate or like the sex slave of this Horde King. So like trigger warnings abound, but I do think I'll be reading that one. And then the next one, because you know he is an alien and that is not natural, at least as we know it, because we don't know if there's aliens out there. I'm sure that we are not alone, but that's not the point here. The point is I'm going to be reading that one. Now for the second one, read a book that takes place on a different world or planet. I do think that for this one I'm going to be reading Rules of Redemption, and this book is a book that has been on my TBR for a while after I saw someone on TikTok really recommend it, and it has like a really bad cover honestly, but I am really excited to get to it because I've heard amazing things from this series. Like it's like enthralling to the fullest. And then the next prompt is a book with forced proximity, and for that one I will be picking up a book that's currently, I'm trying to go through like my currently owned books. So the book that I'll be reading for that one is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Marin, and this is a book that I feel like was really popular a couple of years ago. I feel like it's still kind of popular, but definitely not as much as it used to be, and it is about a witch and a witch hunter that end up having to get into like a forced marriage. So that obviously I feel like if they have to get in a forced marriage, they have to stay together. Like that's it. Yeah, so this will be the one I read for that one. Of course I'm going to be reading our group book, which is A Court of Ravens and Ruin by Lisa Rain. It is a Viking and Norse mythology inspired romantasy book, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out because I have not read anything like that so far, so we'll see. And then for the bonus prompt of read a book over 500 pages, I'm gonna see what book I end up doing for that one because I don't know. I feel like a lot of my Kindle Unlimited series are more than 500 pages. I just like don't know which one I want to read right now, so stay tuned. And also that's a bonus prompt, so like the most important thing is that I get my prompts done. So then the next book that I have that I'm going to be reading is The Great Hunt. There is a Wheel of Time readathon going on, and they have a Discord channel for it, and I read the first book of Wheel of Time and I liked it, but I never ended up picking the second book, and this is like the mass market paperback, and I wish I didn't buy this version because I have like the paperback version, like the trade paperback, and now they look weird next to each other, but it's fine. These books are just really expensive, and like I kind of like the feeling of having such a big bulky book, but I wish it was floppier like the first book. This is not the point here. The point is I will be reading this as part of the Wheel of Time readathon, and that is hosted by Linnea, and her Instagram username is LNNVS. So there we go. And then the next book I'm going to be getting to is for the Buzzword readathon hosted by Books and Lala, and it's the book. It's We Hunt the Flame. The word for this month is a verb, so hunt, verb. And I've had this book also forever on my TBR, so I really want to get to it. Like this is the year I get through things and like get through my TBRs. And the next book I'm going to be reading is Once Upon a Broken Heart, and this is the story of Jax from the original Carval series by Stephanie Garber. I don't know much else about it because I don't want to get spoiled, and there's already so many spoils on the internet, and like since there's so much fan art, I also like didn't look into like what this is about, because I feel like once you know what the book is about, you can put the pieces together of the fan art. Is that crazy? I don't know. I don't know much about it, but I really want to get to it because I think that the third book or like the fourth book or something is coming out soon, and I haven't gotten to it, and I really loved Carval and that series. So I'm really liking having a TBR because I really want to get through books that like I have physically, and I'm really excited that a lot of the books that I picked this month are physical copies of books. On that note, thank you so much for watching. If you have read any of these books or you're planning to read any of them, let me know. I honestly am really excited and happy that I started doing TBRs because I feel like it keeps me more accountable. And also I feel like since I have a lot of books I want to read and like I was tired of feeling like I wasn't getting to any of them, having a plan really gives you like direction, and it's not as much like what do I feel like reading and then not picking anything up because I don't know what I feel like reading. So thank you so much. Let me know if you've read any of these books or if you're going to read any of them, and I'll see you next time. Bye!